This week we got a pretty big surprise in the form of a spin-off Kirby game coming to the Nintendo Switch just months after their main big one, the peak of the series being Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, we're getting a new one, and this one has kind of a Fall Guys-like racing aspect to it, where you will be competing against 3 other Kirbys in order to get to the goal, and of course, eat the most food. Of course, when we get a new trailer, I have to look into it and see if there's anything really exciting to talk about, and point out all these small details and secrets that are hidden throughout the trailer. So today we are going through Kirby's Dream Buffet and seeing all the fun things that we can find. If you found today's video to be very interesting and informative, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Kirby and all things Nintendo in general. And let's get on to the video. First off, the race starts with Kirby and his other 3 Kirbys in the back, followed by 4 Waddle Dees in the front. These Waddle Dees will likely be computers. I don't think they can really accumulate or really win anything, but they'll probably just be able to roll around and kind of bump off of you and distract you as you're racing. Because the website says up to 4 players, so I don't think there will be a total of 8, which is a missed opportunity personally. I would love to see a whole bunch of people just racing kind of like Fall Guys. One of the Waddle Dees actually has some type of whipped cream on its head, so maybe there's some type of customizable option that will be added where you get to customize your Kirby. That would be pretty cool. But look who's back to start the race from Amazing Mirror and of course the Smash Brothers games in the form of Master Hand and Crazy Hand. They're counting down and able to tell you when you need to go. Now you'll notice Kirby left his cookie platform very early before the timer even got past 2 seconds, which probably means you just need to make sure that you're at a good pace in order to pass that finish line as it cuts open right at the last second. You'll probably lose momentum if you leave too early and you'll bump off the tape or something. It kind of reminds me of Sonic Riders, where it had the same kind of concept where if you left too early, you would get shocked at the starting line. Also, a nice little detail is you start on a cookie baking sheet, which is pretty cool. Also, you can see a stamped Kirby cookie to the left and one to the top right. The next area, we see the Kirbys rolling around what seems to be some slippery surface full of icy popsicles. You can see the popsicles lining the path all the way down, and also some giant ice cream cones that they could probably bump into as an obstacle. Once again, your goal is to collect as many strawberries as you can and make your way down the path. I don't know if it matters if you finish first or anything. I just think the further you go up ahead, the more chances you'll get to get bigger strawberries and stuff before everybody else. You can also see you'll have the ability to jump as well, as the green Kirby jumps over the others to take the left path, which is cool that you have a lot of free movement options. The website also states that the bigger Kirby gets, the faster he goes, which is very interesting, which means you'll want to collect everything that you see along your path. The next section takes Kirby over like a very skinny long piece of cake. You can see the icing in the middle and actually shows a path when Kirby goes through it all the way through the icing, which is some really cool detail. You can even see the icing shooting back as he's flying through it, but also along the path there are some wind tunnels that will actually push Kirby further and a lot faster. It's not just the wind tunnels, it seems to have some type of candy speed boost, like some Tootsie Rolls that are rolling forward that I guess shoot Kirby forward when he goes over them, which is pretty cool. It's like a Sonic boost pad, but in candy form. If you look forward into the stage, there's some things that you get to see. There's like some chocolate syrup spilled everywhere that might slow the Kirbys down, but there's also some enemies returning, but with a new design. These are the bouncy enemies. Yes, they're actually called bouncy, which I didn't actually know before, but they have a new little colorway. Instead of having their red rim, they have a green one with a blue bow behind them. Now, if you look at the whole area, it's kind of modeled after Dreamland. Yeah, it has the like round circular logs and everything and the little stems sticking up from them, but this time it's like made out of cake and some type of breading, which is really cool. This is Kirby's Dream Buffet, not just his dream dessert, as in this world we see tons of different types of foods and breakfast foods and all types of stuff scattered all over the stage that Kirby's actually used to complete it, and it just looks really fun. To the left, you can see some french fries and like the head of an asparagus, but also some types of maybe cut up peppers that are lined up in a tower to the left. Not really sure what that is. To the right, we have a sliced cucumber and then 3 eggs that the players can bounce off of to get to the top of like this giant sandwich. That's a lot of tomato on that sandwich. A little too much tomato. But you can see Kirby go through a cracker with icing and of course strawberries on it with the number 5, which probably means it gives Kirby the same effect as 5 strawberries. You can see him physically get bigger. Up at the top, you can see the toasted bread and also 4 mystery boxes. They have a knife and a fork on them, and these may be where you can get your copy ability. After all, we did see that there are copy abilities, and we'll get into that in a second, but very interesting. We'll get into that later. Pepper shakers are on the top and maybe a salt shaker on the left. You have a ring of pineapple there, a bacon strip bridge that you're going to have to cross over, and some other cool things like a mustard and ketchup bottle, and also like a half onion in the background. Lots of detail. I'm sorry, I'm going into this thing. It's making me hungry. Now, far off in the background, you get to see some type of castle of sorts, and it's hard to make out if that's like King Dedede's castle and food now, or if it's just a regular castle, but that's probably where the end of the level is, and it looks like there's still a long way that these Kirbys have to make it. But something that's actually very interesting here is this stage is just a Kirby platform where they're dropping giant strawberries, and you have to roll over them to pick them up. I don't know if this is just like a battle between the Kirbys, or if this is just a small area that you get warped to before the race, or after the race, or in the middle of the race. I don't know. This actually might be something kind of like Smash Run, where sometimes it's not just a race to the finish to see who's bigger, but sometimes maybe you have to eat a certain amount of food for the battle at the end. It does mention this on the Japanese website that sometimes there will be battles at the end, which I don't know if that indicates bosses or just like this, where you're in an arena, you have to knock people out, and it looks like the yellow Kirby is getting knocked out of the arena as we watch. But of course, the arena is a Kirby cake with his mouth spinning in the middle, almost as if he's sucking things in, and you can see the tracks left behind through the icing after the Kirbys are rolling through it. We see another track where Kirby's getting strawberries, and there's popsicles and different types of lollipops all over the place, and some type of like sour gummies in the middle, but you can see a 5-piece strawberry in the middle, which means you probably have to dodge that candy-looking Gordo in order to get to the sweet. So it's a little bit of a risk versus reward type of thing. But notice who's running over Kirby. It's the yellow Kirby that's actually in the form of a donut, and this is one of the mini copy abilities that we're about to see. This turns him into Wheel Donut, which you can see the icing even shooting up from him. You can see the little bit of icing covered on him as well, like the chocolate icing with sprinkles, and you get to just completely run over your opponents, which is actually pretty fun. In the background, you can see where the Kirbys are going to this kind of wall that's cracked, like a cracked cookie, and maybe you have to be a certain size in order to knock it down faster, or if not, you might get stuck for a while trying to knock that thing down, waiting for the other Kirbys to come. But you can also see a giant spinning tunnel, which looks like something out of Mario Galaxy 2, with tons of pieces of candy and stuff all over it. And yep, there's another stamped Kirby cookie over there. Next up, we have what the official website calls Soft Serve Kirby. Looks more like a cupcake or like a Reese cup with icing on it or something. I don't know. But this turns him into his Tornado power-up, which allows you to kind of move while picking items up and probably players as you get close to them, as he picks up all the strawberries near Kirby. In the background, we get to see some more bouncy enemies and maybe even some purple Bronto Birch to the right. It looks like some type of flying enemy. Not quite sure. It's extremely hard to see in this angle. But you also see a bridge leading to another 5-stack of strawberries. But to get across, you'll probably have to jump across each piece or like each cookie in order to make it to the end, which looks like it's another risk versus reward thing. We get our last copy ability we get to see here. It looks like in the form of Stone Chocolate, where he turns into a giant heavy chocolate bar and slams on the ground, knocking everybody away so that he can collect all the strawberries that come from the middle. But once again, this is another weird stage that looks like it's a battle stage instead of a race. All we see is 2 glasses of like ice cream or yogurt with like flan on the top. It's connected together with like a couple of waffles and like chocolate, but that's pretty much the entire stage, it looks like, unless there's more that I can't see. But it looks like these stages are also made in like kind of a 2D view, where instead of a giant 3D track where you're moving forward, this one you can only move like to the left and to the right, really. So I think these are kind of like battle platforms and battle stages where you get to like use copy abilities. You can see even more boxes of copy abilities fall down for the players to use, so maybe it's just a big battle. And in this final scene, we get to see Kirby collect not just strawberries, but also a cherry, and he gets to blast off in this like avocado canyon. There's like a piece of candy in an avocado, and it shoots Kirby all the way, you know, through the level, which is probably really good to get a head start, even though he's probably missing a lot of strawberries doing so. Lots of cheeseburgers everywhere with bacon on them and lots of fruit on it. There's pineapple on that cheeseburger. Do people put pineapple on cheeseburgers? Am I missing something? Yeah, there's pineapples on these cheeseburgers. I don't know how I feel about that. We see french fries being used as guardrails and also different types of toppings being used as the guardrails, and sandwiches down below as a sandwich bridge if you wanted to take the lower path. And all the way to the very end, it's nothing but like the tops of sandwiches and different types of avocados and cheeseburgers all the way to the end. We get to also see one more enemy archetype, and it seems to be the Kabus are back, but this time they look like little donuts, or like little chocolate donuts with like chocolate eyes, mouth, and the top of their heads with chocolate and sprinkles, unless it's like also like maybe it's a chocolate covered pretzel or something, I don't know, but they look very tasty down there. And they're probably going to be shooting out the mini Kabus. They might be the King Kabus, who knows, but they're back. And then we finally get to see all the Kirbys weigh in, and obviously the giant Kirby breaks the scale. You can literally see the scale pop out and just snap. And then you can see Master Hand and Crazy Hand are surprised in the background. They're kind of like holding their hands together, and then they clap and obviously give everybody their congrats. Thankfully, they're good this time around and not like villains, I don't think, unless there's actually like a secret boss battle or something where they are villains. We're just going to have to play and wait and find out. So there actually is a story to this. It's not extremely detailed. Kirby shows up to this buffet festival thing and sees a giant cake and decides to eat it before everybody gets there. But this magical fork turns him into a small little Kirby, and he obviously is going to go crazy with this. He doesn't look sad. But if you look closely at the magical fork, it actually resembles the star rod. And instead of the star at the end, it's just the prongs of a fork, but it even glows and shoots out these stars as it's glowing and transforms Kirby. Maybe there's some type of secret lore to this, that's actually the star rod, or somehow it got turned into a fork. I don't know. Maybe there's some deeper lore to it. We're gonna have to wait and find out. Now, there's no word on where these Kirbys are coming from, like the other ones as well. And I hate it when they always have multiple colored Kirbys because I never do understand like what they're supposed to be. I'm sure there's a deep theory out there talking about what these other Kirbys are, but I definitely want to know. Are they like other universe Kirbys? But I hope one day it's explained. Yes, you can play co-op with your friends. You can play with people, randoms online, up to 4 players. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to drop on the eShop this summer. We don't know if it's going to be a free-to-play game, if it's going to be a small like $5 to $10 game. We have no information on that yet, but definitely stay tuned. It's probably launching within any week now. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys really enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Kirby and all things Nintendo, and I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.